Hello everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter and welcome to my weekly episode. It's episode number 267 and it is June the 25th, 2024. We're almost at the end of June. Yeah, time is flying when you're having fun. Okay, let's talk about the fun I've been having. Well, here is the Underground Railroad quilt top. Now, it hasn't been quilted, of course, but it's all done. This is such a skinny quilt when you get the blocks together because you have 15 blocks. So no matter what way you organize them, it's going to come out like 3 by 5, either vertically as in here or horizontally, and it's the same dimensions. Now I did add some sashing to it, of course, and you can see that with cornerstones, and I added that outside border as well, and it still just wasn't wide enough. It was too skinny, so I added the wider, lighter colored borders to the outside of it, but then it looked a little unbalanced because I didn't put anything on the top or bottom because I didn't want to get any longer. But I had to add another 2.5-inch piece, and what I did was I matched it up to the skinnier dark colored border and made it a little bit more narrow, so you got sort of a stair step effect at the top and at the bottom, and I think that makes it look a little bit better proportionally, and also it kind of, well, it's a unique looking border, I think. Part of the problem here was, and I can't say that I planned this on purpose, well, I sort of did. If you notice, I have cornerstones, and I put cornerstones at the junction points of all the sashing. So, of course, what would have been better is if I'd had some more of that lighter colored fabric. Well, if I'd thought about it at the time, I would have put a strip of the lighter colored fabric all the way around, or even a fabric that was in the same kind of style, but you know what I mean. In other words, so that that first border would not touch the cornerstones and give you this kind of effect. However, having said that, I kind of like that effect. It's a little bit different. So that's why I went with it, and I added the other borders as well. Now this picture is a little skewed because of the way that I take it. I should be taking them from my hanging rack. I do have a hanging rack, but it means every time I take a picture of a quilt, I have to pull it out, assemble it, put it up, and take the picture. This way, I just throw it on my carpet, which again, maybe not the best background because it's a very busy carpet. Depends on what you put on it. But it's really the only place I have big enough to spread a quilt out on in my house. It's on the floor. And then when I take the picture, there's a feature on my iPhone where you can pull the quilt up. Like, I can't get right over top of the quilt to take a square on picture. So I try to use the controls in the camera to flip the picture of the quilt up vertically more, but it'll only allow me to go so far. And then I crop it. So yeah, not the best photographer, but this is what I'm doing. This is how I take my pictures. Sorry about that. Anyways, there it is. Now, one thing, if you look at this closely, the quilt, it's not a mistake. The quilt does have a top and a bottom. If you notice in the second row from the bottom, in the very middle block, that is the sailboat block, and it's upside down. So I guess my sailboat has capsized on there. I didn't realize that until after I took the picture, and so I didn't bother retaking the picture. You get the point. But really, the whole quilt needs to be turned around so that the sailboat, its sail, is pointing upwards. They float better that way, I think. Yeah. So that is now hanging on the rack I have out over by Lucey, waiting to be quilted. I think there are 6 quilts sitting out there right now. I have never been that far behind. And every time I think about, okay, let's get a quilt on Lucey today and do it, I have other things I'd rather do. It's not so much that I hate long arming. It's just that, you know, it's a bit of a boring process in some ways, unless you're doing maybe customization, and which does suggest that maybe this quilt might I've yet to do a quilt customized where I do a different pattern in each block, kind of a thing. I have experimented with sample pieces or with just, blank quilt sandwiches. And yeah, well, I think I know how to do it, but I've been hesitant. But this one would lend itself to that because I have unique blocks in it. I don't know. We'll see. Let's move on, shall we? So, next thing. Okay, a haunting scene. There are 12 blocks in this. I have 6 of them done. You can see they're all labeled. Of course, they're not sewn together yet because I have to wait till I get the other blocks done. I love doing this. It's a lot of fun. I may or may not be working on this on Wednesday on our weekly Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. Um, but I think so because right now don't have any quilts on the go. Like I said, I've got 6 backed up for doing on Lucey. I really need to get to those. But I can't do that tomorrow because I need to be in this room, my sewing room, and Lucey's not in the sewing room. Lucey has her own room, as you know. So, yeah, and I'm not equipped to, well, I suppose I could, I could rig up a camera. I thought, but I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that because it's really awkward to do it. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Anyways, I'll get to them. I will get to them. My goal is before this year is done, I will have everything caught up. Yeah, we've all heard that before, haven't we? But anyways, this one's coming along. Now, I have another In the Hoop project. Yeah, I just got done saying I don't have any more quilts at the moment. Oh, I have quilts. I have patterns. I have a Christmas kit. I want to do a little bit more about that in a moment. But in the meantime, I was at my sister's for dinner. Let me put it up here. I was at my sister's for dinner on Sunday night, and she said she would like a table runner for a table in her family room. We happened to be sitting by it. And I said, not a problem. In fact, I was shocked she asked me for something like this because I have offered her quilts in the past and she doesn't seem to want one. I mean, when she turns around and says, well, I don't have any place to store it, you know she's not a quilt worthy person, right? I mean, I've made quilts for both my nephew and niece, her children. They have them. Um, and I think my sister said something about that Sarah, anyways, would take another quilt. So maybe at Christmas, out of that pile that I sorted out, the quilts to give away, I definitely would give her one. Um, but my sister mentioned a table runner, so I said to her, "Okay, what color?" That's the kicker. My sister doesn't understand that table runners and quilts do not have to coordinate with the colors on your walls or your furniture or your upholstery. Um, there are a lot of people out there that are matchy matchy with everything they make. I don't think quilters, for the most part, when it comes to home decor and quilts, are matchy matchy. Maybe I'm wrong. But my thought is it doesn't matter what color the quilt is, it'll fit into any decor. It's a quilt. Yeah, it's supposed to stand out from the rest of your decor so people can admire it and love it. But anyways, so she's got kind of tan colored yellow background kind of walls in there and whatnot. Now, really, the colors in that room of hers scream autumn to me in the color scheme. So, not a problem, but now finding her design. So I kind of thought what would be nice is I've made her a table runner went before, and when we were over there for dinner, she had it on the dining room table. And that was very nice. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you did good, boy. That's a nice table runner. And she did say anybody who sees it wants to know where she got it and love it. So that makes me happy. Yeah. But that was a more traditional patchwork for that one. And I thought, well, what might look nice on the table, her coffee table, smaller surface in her family room would be one that I've done in the hoop. So I went hunting yesterday for in the hoop designs. I found 3 that I thought might suit her taste. I sent her pictures of each one, and surprisingly, she picked the one that I was hoping she would pick, and she seemed to be excited by it because it has cardinals on it, I showed it back a few weeks ago because I made one that I'm giving as a gift for some friends of mine very soon. Um, and she's got a thing on her wall in that family room. She does a lot of cross stitching. She does beautiful cross stitching. She has been doing this for years. I have several of her pieces here that she's gifted to me. And unlike her, I don't put them in storage. I find a place for them so where they hang up and people can see them because they're beautiful work. But nevertheless, and I'm rambling now, and I know that, so maybe you're having another cup of coffee with me. Um, but nevertheless, she's got a piece in that room that has a cardinal on it, which I didn't notice when I was over there last. But she said, oh, yeah, we coordinate with that really well. So I thought, good, this is easy. So I've got the dimensions of the table because I want to make sure that I make the table runner long enough, so it'll go from end to end of the coffee table. And this particular design will allow me to make it pretty much any length that I want to. So today I'm going to pick out the fabrics for it, and that's probably what I'm going to work on tomorrow on Stephanie and Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. Anyways, how did I get on all of that? Projects, And what else do I have to show you here? Oh yeah, my In the Hoop beach bag. I'm really happy with the way this turned out. This is a great bag, and this is the front of it. As you can see, it says beach. This was a design by, I think it's a Sweet Pea design. Let me just double check here. Yeah, I don't know. I have a link for the file if you're into machine embroidery, if you're interested in this design. It is a fairly good size bag. It has mesh pockets on both sides, and this is the back. I used webbing for the handles. I didn't make the handles. I have a lot of this webbing in different colors, and I really like it because it's got a nice feel to it, a nice texture, and it's strong. And I also lined the bag as well, so there it is. So yeah, I'm very happy with the way this bag turned out, and I should make another one maybe. There's other designs too, just not just beach, but this one's called the Big Beach Bag. And if you've got a big hoop on your embroidery machine, this is the size you can make. Now, you don't make the whole thing on your embroidery machine. You do all of the panels, all the pieces, and then you sew them together. It's very easy using your sewing machine. They do have a method for lining the bag. I didn't do that method. I used my own method, pretty much the standard method of how you line a bag. They did something with your lining fabric where you kind of, before you sew all the panels together, you put on a layer of your lining, and then you sew everything together. Now, when I think about it now, that probably would make a nicer lining. It would be much more flat than the way I do it, but I think it would take more time. I didn't do it. I just didn't do it. Maybe if I make another one of these types of bags again and they have that method, maybe I'll give it a try and see how that works out. But anyways, my brain was working on and doing it this way, the more conservative way. Okay, so that takes me to, oh, wait, I have a little bit of a more detailed little video clip here about the bag so you get a better look at it than just the pictures. So I'm going to insert that video in here right now. So you can see my latest project that I finished. It's a beach bag. Well, it's a bag. It's a tote bag. And this was an In the Hoop project, and the pattern is called the Big Beach Bag, and it comes from Sweet Pea Designs. And their designs are really good because the instructions are excellent. And you'll find a link for this pattern in the show notes as well, so you can check it out if you're interested. And basically, you make it with odds and ends of fabric, whatever you like. And you do the panels, each panel, in the hoop on your embroidery machine. It's in the hoop applique. And then when you get it done, they give you instructions for sewing it all together. I don't like their instructions for how to make the lining, because what they basically do is sew a piece of fabric over each panel before the bag is assembled, and then you assemble it. And in one way, well, yeah, the lining would be done, but I did the lining in the more traditional way in the bag where, I made a separate, another bag kind of a thing, and, you put them together, right sides together, inside out, pull them out, and that kind of thing. And I think that works just as well as their method, and it's one I'm more familiar with. Now, this bag does have pockets on the side. And if you want a more substantial bag, this bag only has batting between the layers, actually battleizer, which is a type of low loft batting. I use it for a lot of projects like this, or for table runners or placemats. You've heard me talk about it before, and it's available from Hoop Sisters because it is a Hoop Sisters product, and it's called, again, battleizer. And just do a search for it if you're interested in buying any. It's not particularly cheap, but it's great if you want something to lay flat and to give it a bit of body. Now, I could have used something else in this. If I really wanted to make this a little stiffer, I could have used something like Decobond, which is a little thicker, or I could even used by Annie's Soft and Stable as well, but I didn't. I stuck to the instructions and used the batting, and that's okay. As far as I'm concerned, that's fine. The bag does stand up on its own, as you can see, and that works out well. So I did say there's pockets on the side, and this is by Annie mesh. Very easy to use. You could use any kind of mesh that you have, and again, it's all in the instructions. You actually sew the pockets, with the exception of the binding up here. You make the pocket first, and then you put the binding on it, and then it gets incorporated when you're stitching out the side panels, and the machine basically sews it to the panel, and the seams get hidden, of course, when you put the panels together on your sewing machine. Does it take a while to do? Yeah, it does. It does take a little while to do. Each panel, depending on how much detail is on it, probably takes about an hour. So yeah, this is not a project you're going to do in, well, you might be able to do it in one day, but you're going to be pretty tired afterwards. And of course, the strapping, you could either make your own, or I already have different colors of this nylon webbing, and I quite like it, and I just use that instead. I think it's 1 inch, 1.5 inches wide. Where is it available? Anywhere. You can probably get some of it in your local quilt store. You can get it online. I think I ordered mine from a place called Cleaner Supply, but you can probably even buy it on Amazon. And you can get it in different widths. You can get it in different colors, and it's not terribly expensive for that. And I just find using that as opposed to making them, well, it's a time saver. And I think it looks just as nice, but that's up to you. So anyways, this is the Big Beach Bag by Sweet Pea. I really like it. I think it turned out great. And yeah, so just another alternative. And they have other designs as well, and other sizes. This is pretty much, I think, the biggest size you can make. It depends on your embroidery machine, what the size is of your biggest hoop. And I think this one is probably finished at about 16 inches tall, and it is about 14 inches wide, and the bottom is about 6 inches, I think. So you got a good sized bottom on it as well. So you can get quite a bit in this bag. So yeah, lots of fun. Highly recommend it. Okay, that takes me to what's happening, what's new, what's next, what's coming up, all those good things. Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, as I also mentioned. I mention it every week on Wednesdays, starting at 9 a.m., running until about 4 p.m. Eastern Time. All are welcome. It is a Zoom. It is not recorded. It is not a YouTube Live. If you want to get together with people, come sew with us all. It's very informal, very much a lot of fun. And yeah, come and go as you please. Okay, link for that is in the show notes. And Pop-Up Sew Day. Yes, I'm going to host another Pop-Up Sew Day this coming Saturday, June the 29th. There's a link for that in the show notes as well. Those of you on my mailing list have already got a notification for this with the link. Again, it is a Zoom link. It is not a YouTube Live. If you've never been with us before, don't be afraid. We are a very supportive, very friendly, lots of fun group. Bring whatever you want to work on with you. Come and go as you please. yada, 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 yada. Okay, so looking forward to this with all of you. Now, for us Canadians, it is the long weekend, but when you're retired like me, every weekend is a long weekend. So I don't know, people may have plans for the July 1st weekend, but if you don't, it's also Pride weekend. Yeah. So wear your bright, bold, beautiful colors for the pop-up. It's up to you. Um, yeah, maybe I'll get my room a little more festive for Pride Parade week in June. Okay, so all links for everything I've talked about so far are all in the show notes. So let's talk about something I bought, which is another project. Got to get to it because I want to get it done before Christmas. And so I'm just looking for the picture of it. And yeah, here we go. So I went up to Quilter's Cupboard, which is a quilt store about 40 minutes north of me. I don't go there very often, especially when they were under their old management, because I found them very cold. And I call it my old lady fabric store because they tend to have a lot of, like, they have Lori Holtz, and they have a lot of prints that are more vintage in style looking and things like that, which is fine. In fact, I had to go up there because I needed more fabric for finishing off the Underground Railroad quilt, and I knew that was the place where I would find it because they have a lot of that kind of fabric, that 1930s Civil War vintage looking fabric. So when I was up there and I got that fabric, I saw this kit. Now, of course, the first thing that grabbed my attention were the colors of the fabric. Whoever put this kit together were very clever when it came to marketing because they really knew how to display in the packaging the fabric, and it looks really nice. And this is the back or the front of the package, and it is a panel. And I really like the panel. Now, what really appealed to me was the untraditional colors that are in this quilt. You've got a lot of blues. Well, you've got golds too. You do have greens and reds, but I think it's the blues as well. And the style of it is really cool. The stars and the trees. Now, apparently there is a template or templates in the kit. I don't know if they're plastic templates or if they are paper. I suspect they're paper templates. I haven't opened up the kit yet. I almost don't want to because it's so nicely packaged. Yeah, I think the templates are pretty easy. Those are probably just a strip set that you make and you cut those trees out. So yeah, I think this is going to be one of my major Christmas quilt projects this year. Now it's not huge, 36 by 46 panel, and that's okay for a Christmas quilt because I put them out at Christmas on display around the house as part of my decor for Christmas. But the rest of the year they're just in a bag, storage bag, and in the crawl space, which is kind of a shame because I love making Christmas quilts. But I don't know, maybe I could give it as a gift. I don't know. Maybe my sister would like it for Christmas. I don't know. Excuse me. We'll see. But anyways, and just as a side note, one of the reasons I wasn't fond of this particular quilt store in the past was because of their management, because we usually got oh, are you looking for something for your wife? Do you know where you are? Do you know what you're doing? Are you breathing? You know, that kind of thing, attitude. And I don't like that kind of attitude. But now they're under new management, new owner, and totally different atmosphere. Much warmer, much more helpful, I found. You didn't get that look on their face like you just wandered into some place you don't know where you are and you shouldn't be there kind of thing. So I was talking to one of the staff that were there, and she asked me if I'd seen the coordinate fabrics for this, and I said I had not. And she took me over to where they were, and they were very pretty. But I didn't buy any because, you know, I didn't need any more. I've got the kit. However, she did say, I said, I got thinking about it, and I says, actually, it's good to know you have those because And I said to her, I'll be really honest with you. I said, I bought a couple of kits here over the years in the past. I haven't for several years since, but they shortchanged me on the fabric. And I said, at first, the first kit that I did from here that I had that problem, I thought it was my problem. I thought I had made a mistake. And so I double checked my measurements and everything, made sure I cut everything right in the right way to get the most out of the fabric. And I had, and it was still short. Luckily, I had stuff in my stash that I could use to sub for that, and I was able to do the project. I said about a year later or so, I bought another kit, had the same problem with it. So I said I was never buying another kit again. But I saw this one, and I said, and I assumed this one wasn't cut here in the store. That came this way. And she said, oh no, we cut it here. She says, in fact, I cut it. And I went, oh, okay, open your mouth a little wider, see if you can get your other foot in. And I said to her, oh, well, I said, I'm sorry, I'm sure it's okay, but I did have this experience in the past. And she says, if you have any problems, she says, you just let us know and we'll make it right. If I had said that under the old management, I would have gotten crickets with that. And then when I was up at the cash register, another lady, and I don't think she's the owner, but I think she might be the manager of the store. Anyway, she said, can I ask you, she says, I overheard part of your conversation with whatever the other lady's name was. And so I repeated it for her. And she said, yeah. And it was like she was in the know. She knew who the person was that was putting a lot of the kits together at that time when I bought them. And it just sounded, by the way she said that's all she said, that there had been problems in the past. But she said the same thing. If you have any problem or whatever, just give us a call. So I'm hoping that this will be all right when I get to it. So I don't want to leave it for too long before I do it, because the fabric that they may have in there, if I'm short on it, may be gone. So you know how things go like that. So anyways, that was my major acquisition. That's a major thing I bought when I was up there. Okay, so Stephanie of Stephanie Stitches held on last Friday late afternoon, a jelly roll race. I have never done a jelly roll race before. So she invited me to this. So she had Shannon of Slay Art. She had Russ of Quilt Meets World, and she had Ingrid, who does not have a YouTube channel but is a good friend of all of ours, there too, who also had a friend of hers with her in her sewing room, and away we went up with the jelly roll race. Now, it's not really a race. We weren't in competition with each other. Besides, Stephanie would have won for sure, and she did, because Stephanie sews at the speed of light, and she was working on two of them at the same time. Yeah. Now, the whole idea behind having this event was that we will take the quilts and donate them to charity. So we each have our own special charity. Mine is going to be Project Linus, and I've donated quilts to them before. So here's what mine ended up with. It took me about 2 hours to put this together, and this is the first time I've ever done a jelly roll race. And it was a jelly roll I've had sitting around for literally for years, and it's Kafe Facet. And when I first got into quilting, I was all in love with Kafe Facet, and I still like Kafe Facet, but he hasn't come out with anything in a while that's different and new and exciting, so I don't tend to go for Kafe Facet anymore, unless it's for something very specific. But nevertheless, here's the jelly roll. Now, it has not been squared up yet. I was debating whether I should put a border on it or not, and then I'll slap it on Lucey. But I'm thinking that I probably won't. And depending on what I pick for the backing on it, I may bind it though with black fabric, because I think that'll make, all of those colors just pop. And after all, it is a charity quilt, and I do have a philosophy about charity quilts. I think you should put as much work and time, pretty much, or care anyways, into a quilt you're going to donate to charity as you would for a quilt you would give to someone as a gift, because just because somebody is receiving this that you don't know, and it's a charity quilt, that shouldn't make you slough off from what you're doing. Don't give them a cast off. Don't give them a mistake. Really, those people have a hard enough life. The whole idea behind giving them a quilt is to make their life for a moment a little brighter, give them a little bit of happiness. So don't treat them like they're second class citizens and, kind of a thing, and give them your worst work. It may not have to be your most elaborate work, something that you spent maybe months on, find applique and everything like that on it, but it should be something that, you put some care and thought into. That's my philosophy anyways. So yeah, so this is hanging out in the Lucey room. I'll get it on at some point onto the long arm. I don't know what pattern I'm going to use. I might use a feather. I'm thinking of doing a feather. And when I say I mean Lucey. Lucey will do the feathers for me. And I don't know. We'll see what comes up. But it's pretty, isn't it? Well, with Kate Fassett, how can it not be pretty? Really. And, at first when I heard how to do a jelly roll race, it didn't really attract to me. But, it's kind of fun when you get going to it, after you get that first long strip all together, that is, because I thought that was never going to end. But yeah, it's a great thing for doing a quickie quilt. I could see doing one from a jelly roll of Christmas fabric. I think that would be really nice. And that would be, if you want to give a quick gift to someone, that might be a way to go too at Christmas time. I don't know. We shall see. Okay, so coming up this week, part 4 of Walter Does Lucey. That'll come out on Friday on So Chatty. And people are telling us they're having a lot of fun watching the video. Apparently, we're a real comedy team. I'll let you know something. When we make our videos together, we do not intentionally try to be funny. In fact, we don't think we're funny. But other people do. So whatever floats your boat. If that's giving you amusement and joy and fun, I'm all for it. That's fine by me. So yeah, part 4. I'm not sure what's in part 4, but we made that a while ago. So do check it out. Now, some people have asked, so has Walter got his quilt bound yet? No. No, it's sitting in a pile of stuff in his sewing room, sewing dungeon. And I've been after him. We got to get it squared up, and we got to get that binding on. Binding is made, because I made it for him. Because I figured, well, that was one step closer to getting his quilt done. So I'm going to have to make him commit to an afternoon or something. It'll have to be afternoon because, oh my God, Walter does not get up in the mornings, and he really doesn't wake up mentally until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So putting him in front of a sewing machine, trying to show him how to do binding, that's a recipe for disaster right there. Yeah. Someone's going to get hurt. Probably me. Okay. And of course, another event that we had on the weekend was Stephanie and Shannon's retreat on Sunday. And that was lots of fun. And we did 2 projects. We did the Pinwheel Picnic quilt. And oh, do I not have a picture of the picnic quilt? I think I do. Just give me a second to find it. And here it is. Now, I haven't got it quite finished. You can see there I'm auditioning what I think I'm going to do for a border on it. But it came out pretty great. I had some problems with this. My fault, not Stephanie's pattern problems. I got my pieces mixed up, and my pinwheels were not coming out right. There's an A and there's a B. And Stephanie has that pattern, I believe, now available on her Etsy store. So you can pick it up. It's called the Pinwheel Picnic. It is a picnic blanket. It's a smaller quilt. I can't remember exactly what the dimensions are. I think, let's see, if I do the math here very quickly, it's probably about 42 by 42, in around that, before you get the outside border onto it. The outside border is really, she has a suggestion on what you can do. But I didn't take her suggestion. I'm doing something else, as you can see with the colors. I'm going to finish that up today, though. So there's another top that I'm going to throw on Lucey. So that's what we did for part of the retreat. And the other part of the retreat, and I don't have anything to show you because I didn't get it done. And I'll be honest, the reason I didn't get it done was because my brain was not functioning in the afternoon. There was an awful lot to learn and to do during the retreat. And by the time I got to Shannon's bag and how to make it, it was a beach bag, my brain was not, I was making mistakes. And I just decided, okay, I've had enough for today. I have the pattern. I'll work on it maybe later at another time. And to be honest, I probably won't ever do it. And here's why. It's just simply that I am not a fan of foundation paper piecing, and part of it is foundation paper piecing. And I tried. I did it. I got one of it. The foundation paper pieces were meant to be pockets for the bag on the outside, the front and the back. I did one. I struggled with it. I struggled with it because my brain was foggy at the time, and also because I don't enjoy foundation paper pieces. There, I said it. I don't enjoy doing that kind of thing. So I just stopped. I just stopped and carried on with this one. And yeah, sorry, Shannon. Nothing against Shannon or anything like that. It was just me. Just me. I was tired. Very tired. It's a very intense day. But it's lots of fun, and you learn lots. And if Stephanie and Shannon have another retreat down the road, virtual retreat, watch for it. Subscribe to both their channels. You'll hear about it. And yeah, join in, because you'll have a good time. And you'll learn something too. I certainly did. Okay, so that takes me to subscribers' quilt of the week, and this comes from Sherry Jones.
This week's subscriber's quilt comes from Sherry Jones, and Sherry Jones writes, "Just thought I would share a quilt I made for my book-loving daughter-in-law for her birthday. It is an FPP pattern called The Book Nerd by Angela Pengel, or Pengel. She also loves baseballs, hence the oddball baseball book block. I'm breaking your rules and sending you two pictures simply because the back of the quilt looks as awesome as the front. I ran short on the backing fabric and had to improvise with piecing. Thankfully, I had made a few extra blocks and was able to incorporate them to make up for my fabric shortage mishap. Hope you love it as much as I do and choose to share it with your viewers." Well, actually, I do love it very, very much. I think this is wonderful, and the person you're giving it to, if they love books, are going to love this. But you are very right. The back of this quilt, let me just find the picture of it. There it is. The back of this quilt is absolutely wonderful as well. And what a clever idea. You didn't have enough of the backing fabric, so you had extra blocks. And really, they look like they are supposed to be there. So thank you very much, Sherry, for sharing this wonderful creation with us.
And I'm out of quilts to show. I want yours, or your garments, or your bags, or whatever, anything else that you make. Doesn't necessarily have to be a quilt. Send me one picture and a little blurb, 50 words or less, and I would be very happy to feature it here on the Idiot Quilter. I need those things. So please, I'm out. I am out. Okay. All right. YouTube of the week. This is called, well, this is for a device that if I had all the money in the world, I would probably purchase one. Also, if I had the space for it. But I think it's a great idea, and you could probably DIY it yourself as well. And this is called the Classy American Quilt Design Wall. This week's YouTube video is about a product that entices me. I would like to have one, but they're very, very expensive. And I think you could also make your own. And it's called Classy American Quilt Design Walls. And basically, if you see in the thumbnail picture here, what you have is a roller blind. That's basically what it's built on the idea of a roller blind. Now, this particular company, and I'm not endorsing this product or anything like that, it just happened to find this video, are endorsing this, or they are talking about this product, and it essentially they have done something to it so that you can put your fabric pieces and patches onto it and then roll it up out of sight. Well, there are some limitations, as they say, about this. Personally, these are way too expensive, and I think there's too many limitations with them, but you be the judge when you watch this particular video. But it certainly does get your mind working towards a DIY solution, and there are DIY solutions out there. You just have to do a search on the internet, and you'll find several suggestions as to how to make your own design wall. I don't think I'm going to do one anytime soon. I'm very happy with the one that I have, that I've created for my environment, but this is another option. And as I said, you might think of another solution. So check this video out. It's called Classy American Quilt Design Walls. So pretty expensive for what it is. But there are, as I said, out there DIY projects for making your own with a roller blind or whatever. And, and I maybe, the only thing for me is I think you'd still need to have a wall, an actual physical wall behind that. Because, yeah, if it hangs in space, you can't really get, you need to be able to slap your pieces on there. You need something firm behind it. I have and you can see it just over my shoulder where the pinwheels are. I have one that's like a curtain, basically, is the way I've rigged it up. It's a very heavy piece. Well, it is actually a design wall material. But behind that is my fabric. So when I put pieces on, they don't really stick that well, and especially if they're heavy. I have to pin them. If that was on a flat wall, it would be totally different ball game. And it's the same with, I think, with this roller blind kind of effect too. So that's why I'm not going to try. I could hang a roller blind up. There's a bulkhead there above those. Put it there. It'd be nice to be able to just roll it up and that. But it's not of any advantage to me without that firm surface behind it. So what I've got right now works, and it's like a curtain. When I'm not using it or I need to get into my fabric, I can just slide it across. It's on a big curtain rod up there, and I even have some, ribbon ties that I put around it to tie it out of my way. It's working for me, given where I have it. So yeah, not buying one of those ones real soon. Okay, so future projects. Yes, Gnome for the Holiday by Sew a Story. This week's future project is one I hope to get to before the end of the summer in preparation for Christmas, because I think it's really cute, and you know how I love gnomes. And this one's got the cute name Gnome for the Holidays, and it's by Sew a Story. Jennifer Long is the creator of this pattern. Now, this looks a lot of fun to do, and I don't know how difficult it is because I did buy the pattern, of course, and I did take a look at the piecing diagrams, and there looks like there's a lot of pieces to work with for this. But I think if you get one of the gnomes done, there's two styles of gnomes on here, and I think once you've done one of each, probably the rest of it goes very, very quickly. It does look like it's fun. Size is 60 by 72, so that is actually quilt size as opposed to wall hanging size, which is nice too. But I think it would be very nice to add to my collection of Christmas quilts that I have made. The price is not bad, $11.95 US, and I'll put the link in the show notes to where you can purchase this if you're interested in it as well. And if you do end up doing this particular quilt or have done it in the past, why not send me a picture of it and tell me a little bit about the process that you went through, and I'll share that with everybody else here on the channel. So that's Gnome for the Holidays. I'm looking forward to doing this. And that's another project I'm kind of itching to get to. And, again, another Christmas thing. And we're halfway through the year. Yeah, we may be 6 weeks or 6 months. No, 6 weeks, thank goodness. 6 months away from Christmas. But you got to start your Christmas stuff now, if not even before. Because you know what happens? You turn around, you blink, ah, my God, it's December and I haven't got anything done. Okay, so online quilt stores, another Canadian one. By the way, if you haven't realized it over the years that I have been doing these, I only review Canadian quilt stores because, after all, I'm a Canadian channel. And you Americans need to start ordering from Canadian stores because whatever price you see on a Canadian shop site, take 30% off because your dollar is worth a lot more than ours. So yeah, you're getting a 30% discount. That's pretty damn good. And you get that on the shipping too, because everything's in Canadian dollars. So when you convert it to American dollars, it's a bargain. So yeah. Okay. So this online quilt store is called Forever Friends Quilting.
This week's online quilt store is called Forever Friends Quilting, and it's located in Strathmore, Alberta. And let's take a look at their front page. We have it here. So they have their menu at the top. They have a little blurb about them and their store hours. So they do have a brick and mortar store as well. They have some fabrics, block of the month, and shop on sale items. They have gift certificates. And they're showing some new products that they have. And they have a newsletter as well, although it looks like they haven't done a newsletter since 2022. Contact information is right there as well. And so let's take a look at what they offer in terms of fabric. So we'll click on fabric, and they have it listed as cotton, batik, flannel, panels, broadcloth, and seasonal. So let's do cotton. And they have a nice little left sidebar with, you can search by brand name, and they have all the ones you would expect and a few that I haven't heard of before, but it looks like quite a bit, although they don't have a lot from each of these. It looks like their top one is Northcott. So let's take a look at Northcott. And they've got, of course, the standard blenders here, the Toscana, $15. And I would imagine that's $15 a meter. And it is. That is a very, very good price. Mind you, these are blenders. Let's go back and look at their price on a few others. Okay, so that flipped down to a few other things. So printed ones, well, now we're getting up there. So yeah, the blender's only $15, but their other ones look like they are anywhere from 21 to 29. That's a wide back. Okay, so price-wise, they're on the upper end of the scale. I'm not even sure if that's upper end of the scale these days in Canada. That's more the average, I would say, at $20 or $21 a meter. They have a few that are a little less expensive than that, but they seem to have a lot of Northcott fabrics to choose from. The O Canada series is here as well, Toscana, as I've mentioned before. So not a bad selection. Some seasonal things here too. So let's take a look at Benartex, because that is one I have trouble finding a lot of. Okay, so that just took us to, they've got some Toscana canvas. Well, those are Northcott. I am a little confused now. Prices are about the same though. But, oh, I see. Sorry, I should have taken the check mark off of Northcott. Now we'll have Benartex. There we go. So $20 a meter. Not a lot to choose from, although I do like the wave texture one. Okay, so yeah, as far as fabric is concerned, they seem to have an okay selection. Wilmington prints, 229 of those to choose from. Now they're much more expensive. Now is that $26? That's a meter, and that is not wide back. So that's expensive. Although I have found Wilmington prints do tend to be a little on the higher scale, depending on where you buy them from, but well, in most places. Okay, let's check out their batiks. $21 for batiks, a meter, 23. That's on the high side for batiks. Pre-cuts, looks like they have a few pre-cuts, but they don't know if they have a separate category for pre-cuts. Let's see, all categories, fabric, batting, backing, notions, pre-cuts. Okay, here's pre-cuts. They also have kits, so a lot of charm packs, some jelly rolls, and the prices are, yeah, they got some layer cakes. Prices are, yeah, about what you'd expect to pay for that. So nothing outstanding about that. Let's go back to all categories. Let's look at backing. I'm assuming this is wide back, cotton, 108. Okay, $28, $28.50, 31. That's ooh, those ones are cheap. 110 inch, $19 a meter. Okay, but not a lot to choose from. But yeah, not a bad range in prices. You know, as low as 19 up to 31. Yeah, but not a lot of selection. Here it says they only have 16 to choose from. Okay, so let's look in the category section again. Batting. Pellin interface batting. They have it in bags. They have cotton, cotton bamboo, Pellon two-sided fusible batting, and Tender Touch batting. I'm not familiar with that brand. And it looks like these run for your blends. 120 cotton, $22 a meter, and 120 inch poly, 21 inch, or 120 inch, $21 a meter. Okay, again, about what you'd expect to pay. The bamboo, of course, is always more expensive, never used it. And the Pellon, I never use fusible batting either. Tried it once, didn't like it. Okay, so go back up here to all categories. Notions. Yeah, well, notions are notions. Do they have a lot to choose from? Well, thread. Let's check out the thread. Confetti. Yeah, it looks like they deal with confetti and deco bob. And I think the prices are fairly reasonable. I don't buy that brand. Doesn't look like they have Aurifil though. They just are with confetti and deco bob. Okay. Yeah. All right. Once again to there. Let's see. Pre-cuts, we checked that out. Clearance, we'll come back to that. They have a block of the month, books and patterns. They have much to choose from in that, but oh, they have 170. They have something called shop patterns. They have 29 free patterns and shop books. Here's free patterns. Some bag patterns. Patchwork jacket pattern. Okay, actually their freebies don't look too bad. All right, so that's kind of a nice resource right there. Shop patterns must be ones that they have created. A very woolly Christmas. No picture of that. So I don't know what that is. Maybe that's, well, it seems to be you can order it. I don't know. Guess you take your chances.
Dr. Seuss free pattern. Okay, but you don't know what it is. All right. So that's not very helpful, is it? Okay, so let's take a look at what do they have on sale. They have flannel, new arrivals, consignment, store use, embroidery. Okay, we'll come back to that matter. Just take a look at clearance to see what they're offering. $4.95, $9.75, $10, $13.80. Okay, well, sale prices are okay. I got a few things on sale. There's a Kimberbell kit CD. Whoa. I've never done a Kimberbell for $17, depending on the shipping. We'll check that out. Shoot. Yeah, that might be worth giving a try, except I don't really want to make a bench pillow, and that's too cute for me. So, no. Let's go back. And what else should we check out here? Flannel, we know flannel. New arrivals, embroidery. Let's check out the embroidery. And it's hand embroidery because it's DMC plus. So that's what they're offering here. On their sidebar, does it say DMC, Charles Cat, it's So Emma, Jack Dempsey. And it's a hand stitching project cross stitch pattern actually. So okay, if you're into that kind of stuff, they do offer that. And I did want to check out as well classes. They have one, Lori Holt Club, $10. Okay, that seems pretty cheap. What's the catch here? Table rental. Cost $10 table rental. So I guess you already have it. Come stitch with friends every first and third Thursday. So it's just a stitch day. Yeah, you bring your own stuff. Okay. So it's really not a class. It's just come and work on whatever you want in your rent space. Okay, anything else we need to check out here? Yeah, we want to check out shipping. So let's see. Do they have this at the bottom? Nothing about shipping. Sitemap. We'll click on that. Store policy, shopping categories. I'm not seeing anything about shipping. Okay, we could try a dummy one. That in our cart. They'll probably want me to put in my address. Okay, this is weird. Okay, go to checkout, subtotal, email contact, shipping options, economy. Okay, to my zip code, to my postal code, economy, $18. Okay, is that a flat rate? Let's up the quantity here. No, it's not. It does change. So you may want to check that out. Okay, I really can't say if that's reasonable or not because I guess it would matter with how much you're buying. Oh, but they do have free shipping on orders over $175, so that's pretty good. Okay, so overall, it's an okay site. It had a few interesting things. Prices are middle ground to upper level. Not bad. Not bad at all. So I would think if you lived in Alberta and near Strathmore where they are, it might be worth visiting their store. But anyways, it's another option. So that's Forever Friends Quilting in Strathmore, Alberta. So that brings us to the end of this episode of the Idiot Quilter. Got all choked up about that for just a second. And yeah, Pop-up Sew Day this coming Saturday, June the 29th, 8 to 5. Come and go as you please. Links in the show notes. Hope to see you there. And hope you have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye for now.